Hi listeners, I'm back again, just following on our 3-part series on anger. And part 3 today is tips for managing your anger. In part 1, we looked at explaining the conditions for anger and what 3 conditions are necessary for anger to erupt. And we said you need some energy, which is the fuel, you need a contained space, and you just need a flint, just need a spark, which is your trigger. In the second talk, we spoke around kind of understanding how anger impedes your body and the effects that anger can have on your body, and how you are the one that is the most responsible for looking after your health, and just being mindful of the significant impact that anger can have on your health. And in today's talk, we're going to look at step 3, which is tips to manage your anger. Okay. I think the most important part of any of these situations is step 1 is to actually acknowledge that you have a problem managing your anger. And if you can acknowledge that, that's at least increasing your awareness of it, because the most dangerous part of it is when you're not aware of it. So just trying to look at, hang on, I don't like the way I manage it. I don't like the impact and effect it has on me. And I don't like the impact and effect it has on those around me, because remember, you're still modeling behavior. So if you've got small children around, or even just teenage children, you're modeling to them how to cope with things when you are not happy about something. And they will, in some effect, mimic the same. Okay, so learn to acknowledge if you have that problem. The second thing is write it down. Summarize what you observe and write it down in a sentence so that it's out there. It's out of your mind and you've put it out somewhere out there. The third thing is recognize the stress. Understand what is the stress that's building up in you that's causing you to be more prickly, more explosive. Okay? The fourth thing is develop empathy. Empathize with yourself that you're not coping. Empathize with yourself that you need to be able to look at what are the things that are messing with your sense of calm and what changes might need to be done to try to create that calmness. And then the fifth objective is to use your support networks. Okay, so what do we mean by that? We mean by if you are mindful that you are actually struggling with anger and you need that help, it's important to actually speak to someone you trust. Usually the preference would be your spouse, and say, look, I struggle with this, you can see I struggle with this, can you hold me accountable? Could we even have a code word? If we're, for example, around the family and you can see I'm bubbling up, just share that code word with me. Just say that word. No one will know what it's about, but you and I will have this understanding. And that will just be a reminder for me to slow down, breathe, take a step back, because you're losing perspective. And I find that code word works really well, because it just helps to remind you that you're losing perspective. Because in the moment, you kind of lose sight of that in the moment. And so that's important to actually recognize your triggers, recognize the type of things that trigger you, that would flare you up, so that you can start becoming attuned to, when you see that, tell yourself, slow down, breathe, because you're not going to like the way you respond to this. I think about a common example. I'm a mother, right? Many mothers out there. And when things are lying around everywhere and you feel like it's another thing you need to tidy up, and it's another bowl that never made it to the sink, and it's another chip packet that's lying on the floor, and it's another glass that's just the whole culmination. Those things that eventually you're like getting more and more frustrated. If those are the things that are going to trigger you, when you see that chip packet on the floor, just to be able to say, oh, okay, slow down. This is going to trigger me. Slow, deep breaths, because you're not going to like the way you respond to this. So choose a way to respond differently. And engage with your breathing. Slow it down until you feel you've actually got control over your words. And in that moment, communicate assertively. So what do we mean by saying? We can say, whoever it is, to be able to say, who left this on the floor? Please, can you be more mindful in future to throw it into the bin? I feel frustrated when I see this, because it just it gives me the message that it's my job to pick it up, and it's not my job to pick it up. So please, can the person who ate this take this and just be respectful towards the fact that it impacts all of us. And that is a communicative assertiveness, because it's sharing with someone an awareness, a mindfulness, and an impact. Okay, so communication skills is key. Okay, another thing is to adjust expectations. So if we look at that just primal, trivial example of a chip packet on the floor, right? An important thing is to adjust expectations. In that moment, you might have a 6-year-old child that's just munching something. Perhaps even your spouse called them to do something. In that moment, they were just left what they were doing and off they went to go and deal with that situation. And there it was. So nothing with intention, something with every innocence. But in the moment when you explode, you're not getting the whole communication. So allow opportunity to get the whole communication so that you can adjust your expectations. And then an important aspect is to forgive. Because if you don't forgive, you punish yourself. You don't punish them. You think you're punishing them, but the person you're hurting is yourself. And remember, if you're hurting yourself, it's going to manifest physiologically. Okay. Another important aspect is to listen. So often people are angry, they make judgments and statements, but they're not listening to the bigger picture. Get the bigger picture by understanding the impact on others. Okay. It's important to look at your situation objectively, because if you don't, you are blasting off from assumptions modes, and an assumption is no factual basis for anything, and assumptions just drive irrational behavior. So if you think about managing your anger, it's going to help you to build better communication skills. It's going to help you mirror to your children how to handle situations more rationally and effectively and maturely. It's going to help you manage your stress. It's going to help your listening skills, and it's going to develop even better skills such as reframing. Reframing is looking at things in a different way, okay? And in another talk, I'm going to talk to you about reframing because it's a wonderful skill that really can help your mental health on so many levels, and I look forward to chatting to you about it. But for now, I want you to try those skills for yourself. I hope they can help. Come back to me. Let me know what helped, what didn't help, what did you enjoy, what did you find really different. Let's see how we can work through that. Okay, take care. Bye.